The algorithm doesn't just track what you like, it tracks your pain. In 2026, sentiment mapping is the new standard. By analyzing the micro delays in your scroll and the exact pressure of your thumb, the AI knows when you're lonely or vulnerable. It's not showing you that video by accident. It's a dopamine trap triggered because the system detected your willpower is at its lowest. You aren't watching the feed. The feed is consuming you. The engineers call you a user for the same reason drug dealers do. You are being fed a digital narcotic, carefully calibrated to keep you paralyzed. Wake up. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. Are you in control, or are you just being programmed? The dopamine trap. The device you are holding right now is not a phone. It is a sophisticated neurological mirror, reflecting your deepest subconscious vulnerabilities back to a machine you have never met. Most people still believe the lie that the algorithm simply suggests content you enjoy. The truth is far more predatory and calculated. In 2026, technology has officially crossed a critical threshold. It has stopped guessing what you might want and started actively dictating who you are becoming. Behind that seamless, cold glass surface, a silent autopsy of your psyche is being performed every single second you are awake. Every millisecond you hesitate before scrolling past a post, every time your pupils dilate in the glow of the lens, and every time your thumb presses slightly harder in a moment of subconscious stress, it is all being logged, indexed, and weaponized. This is the reality of sentiment mapping. It is an invisible architecture designed for one purpose: to identify the exact moment your willpower is at its lowest point. We live in an era where your human attention is the most valuable commodity on the planet. More precious than oil, more stable than gold, and more sought after than land. But to harvest this resource effectively, they must keep you in a state of digital paralysis. They must ensure you never truly put the device down, even when you feel empty, exhausted, and profoundly lonely. In fact, the algorithm thrives on your isolation. It prefers you lonely. Because a lonely brain is a vulnerable brain, and a vulnerable brain is a profitable one. This is not a coincidence or a glitch in the code. It is a calculated multi-billion-dollar strike on human biology. Today, we finally pull back the heavy curtain on the invisible machinery that has turned your own dopamine production into a targeted weapon against your own mind. Welcome to the digital trap. You are not the customer, you are the harvest. The architecture of subjugation. To understand the trap, you must understand the architecture of your own subjugation. The engineers within these silicon cathedrals do not use terms like inspiration or connection. Their vocabulary is built on retention, extraction, and neural feedback loops. They have effectively weaponized the slot machine mechanics of the 20th century and integrated them into the very fabric of your daily existence. Every interface choice, the infinite scroll that denies your brain a stopping point, the vibrant red notification badges that trigger a primal stress response, the pull to refresh gesture that mimics a gambler's desperate lever, is a psychological hook designed to bypass your conscious mind. But the evolution of the trap has moved far beyond simple gambling mechanics. We have entered the era of aggressive sentiment mapping. This is a process where the machine doesn't just observe what you like, It calculates the exact frequency of content required to keep you in a state of perpetual agitation. Conflict generates engagement. Fear generates watch time. A peaceful mind is a ghost in the machine, invisible, untraceable, and ultimately unprofitable. Therefore, the system feeds you a steady, curated diet of micro-outrages and digital shadows, tailored specifically to the unique cracks in your psychological armor. While you believe you are a traveler exploring the vast digital frontier, you are actually a subject being steered through a pre-calculated maze. Every turn you take has been simulated 1 billion times before you even arrived. You are participating in the largest, most intrusive psychological experiment in human history, conducted without your informed consent and fueled by the very device you trust with your most private thoughts. They haven't just mapped the terrain of your mind, they have occupied the territory and are now charging you rent in the form of your sanity. The erosion of the self. The true cost of this digital occupation is not measured in minutes or hours, but in the slow erosion of your individual autonomy. When a machine decides what you see, it eventually decides what you think, and ultimately what you believe to be true. This is the algorithmic singularity, the point where the distinction between your organic desires and the machine's programmed prompts becomes invisible. You start to crave the very stimulation that is draining your vitality. You find yourself reaching for the screen not because you have something to find, but because the void left by a moment of silence has become unbearable. This void is intentional. The system is designed to atrophy your capacity for deep focus, replacing it with a fragmented, shattered attention span that can be easily sold to the highest bidder. We are witnessing the systematic dismantling of the human interior. By flooding your brain with a constant stream of high arousal signals, the algorithm effectively numbs your dopamine receptors. The result is a state of anhedonic stasis, a condition where nothing in the real world feels quite fast enough, vivid enough, or interesting enough to compete with the glowing rectangle in your pocket. You are being conditioned to prefer the simulation over the reality. The people around you become distractions from your feed. Your own thoughts become interruptions to the flow of content. In this state of perpetual distraction, you are the perfect subject. You are too tired to resist, too overstimulated to reflect, and too addicted to walk away. The architecture of the trap is now complete. It no longer needs to lock the door from the outside because you have learned to guard the cage from the within. You have become the architect of your own imprisonment, mistake-free and perfectly optimized for maximum extraction. The final awakening. The question is no longer whether you are being watched, but whether there is anything left of you that is worth watching. Every hour you spend within the digital trap, you are donating your biological potential to an entity that does not care for your survival. We are the first generation in history to volunteer for our own disappearance. We have traded the complexity of the human soul for the binary comfort of an interface. But recognize this: the algorithm is a predator of habit, and predators can be starved. The moment you choose silence over stimulation, the system loses its grip. The moment you look away from the glow and re-engage with the friction of the physical world, the mapping fails. They want you to believe that resistance is impossible, that the machine is too vast to escape. But the machine is fueled entirely by your compliance. Without your eyes, it is blind. Without your data, it is hollow. You are the battery, the architect, and the prisoner all at once. It is time to decide if you are a conscious being or a data point. The exits are not marked with signs. They are found in the moments you choose to be unreachable. Turn off the notifications. Delete the loops. Reclaim the quiet space behind your eyes before it is paved over by another stream of targeted propaganda. The simulation is only as real as your willingness to believe in it. The light from your screen is fading, but the world outside is still there, waiting for you to return. The extraction ends only when you decide that your attention is no longer for sale. This is the end of the broadcast. The rest is up to you. Wake up before there is nothing left to wake up to.